Hello, everyone. Good evening, and welcome to OCAST, your island gateway to all things geek. And tonight, it's another Hebridean Hammerlock, your island guide to the world of wrestling. And joining me tonight, as always, Graham, what is going on with you?
Usual, not a lot. Sunday evening, looking forward to a chat with the Big Rig.
All right. Yep, of course. And Kenny, what's happening with you?
Exact same as Graham. Looking forward to talking with Bryan and learning about his career.
Yep. So, and with that, it's my pleasure to introduce our guest who is quite interesting. He was the first person to ever confirm to do our little podcast, so we'll always be grateful for that. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce main man himself, Big Rig Brian Colton. Welcome to OCAST. Welcome to the Hammerlock.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Oh, it's absolute pleasure. So, Graham, Kenny, do you want to get started with the questions?
Yeah, sure. I'll jump straight in. Obviously, we've done our wee bit of research and stuff, but for people who don't know, how would you describe the Big Rig Brian Colton?
So Big Rig isn't just a character. I actually am a truck driver during the day, and then on the weekends I do the wrestling. So I incorporated what I do for a living into my character. So Big Rig is actually a legitimate name that I can actually accept because with the CDL and I do the transporting now for a company I work for. So, it's not just a character, it is my lifestyle.
It's a way of life.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Yes, it
Oh,
is.
yeah. And I was just going to say, if I was reading your bio and timeline, you'd come into wrestling a bit later on in your life than most. Am
Yes.
I right with that?
Yes, sir.
So
Yep.
when did you actually take the decision to get in the ring? Like, and why,
So
why, oh, sorry, carry on.
no, go ahead. Go ahead and finish.
I was just, was it something you always had in your mind for years and just something happened and said, "Ugh, I'm just going to try it now"?
I've been wanting to do this since I was like 8, but the problem was, I never came from, a family who had money. It was always, paycheck to paycheck. My parents were, the blue collar life. So, you know,
Yeah.
it's not some I wanted to do it, but we didn't have the money to let me go ahead and do it. And then as I got older, I ended up having a kid, and then, I got married, had a family, and then with this job that I have now, I actually was able to make enough money to, follow my dream. And, you know, I tell people it's never too late to follow your dream. And then also, I have kids, so I can't tell them to follow their dreams if I didn't try to do the same. So, you know, even though I started like within my 30s, 31, I figured, if it works out, cool. If not, at least I could say, I followed that dream. And luckily for me, it kind of worked out for me. And so I'm still following that dream. And now my kids understand, never too late. Always follow your dreams. If it doesn't work out, at least you could say you tried.
How did it go down when you said to your wife, I'm at a place I want to do this. Let's try this.
She was very supportive actually, because
Good.
she she doesn't know wrestling well. Like when we
Uh-huh.
first got together, she was not a wrestling fan at all. She knew certain people, like John Cena, Randy Orton, etc. But she's not still not a wrestling fan, but she like enjoys it, and it's because
Uh-huh.
I kind of got her into enjoying it more because of me. But she's been very supportive. Like there's times where I travel to Alabama, I've been to Tennessee. She went with me when I went to Indiana because her family's from there. So, but ultimately, she's very supportive, thankfully. And I'm old. I'm older than most guys when they start. But
Mhm.
I'm able to do the full time job, the wrestling. Helping raise the kids and the family. So it's kind of one of those
Mhm.
things where I do wrestling as fun. But the I make money doing it, so it's like one of those things. How often do you get to make money doing something that you enjoy? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's one of those things where she's kind of like, go ahead and do it until you can't anymore.
Uh-huh.
Right, Kenny, we'll bring you in there.
Two of my questions have been answered. But was there a certain like wrestler or match you saw when you were a kid that just made you go, this is what I want to do. This at some point, this is what I want to be. I want to be like them performing in front of people.
So that's actually a good question because there's different scenarios. So like Dusty Rhodes, I ended up stumbling on him because of my mom. She was a big Dusty Rhodes fan, and the big Dusty versus Ric Flair feud was one of the first things I've watched, and I was like, if that guy Dusty can do this, because I was always an overweight kid, so seeing him doing this, I was like, I can do that. And then I stopped watching wrestling for a little while. When I got back into it, it was a Rey Mysterio and Kane match, and it just stuck with me. And that's one of those matches that I always reference back to when I talk about why I wanted to be a wrestler. And it was that match, and then one of the Dusty versus Ric Flair matches, which most people know those two feuded for years, but it was just, you got the blue collar guy versus the rich guy, and it was just one of those matches that stuck with me. Those two matches there stuck with me the most.
And you're saying there, like, obviously the blue collar thing, is that obviously did that inform your character later down the road? That's where you wanted to be, the blue collar guy in the ring.
So it wasn't just that; it was more of the like Dusty Rhodes, just like his size, because he was never like the most athletically built guys on the roster, and so I'm like, if that guy with his size can do it, then I can do it. But I was still like 6, 7, so I was like, no, I got time. But then I said I stopped watching wrestling for a while, and I turned it back on randomly. And it was a Ray versus Kane, and you got the short guy versus the big tall guy. So, I'm not the tallest guy in the ring usually, and so I was like, if he can do it, then I should be able to do it. And so that was when I was like, I want to do this for a living. But like I said, it just didn't happen until later into life. So, like I said, those two scenarios, like, the out of shape style guy, and then you got the short guy. That's what kind of stuck with me, was because I related to both those sides.
Then when you started training, am I right in saying that you trained under Francisco Ciazzo, who sadly left us a couple of years ago?
Yes.
Yeah. What was the best piece of advice he ever gave you? And is it something that still sticks with you to this day?
So I'm not the most creative guy when it comes to designing a character. And he told me, stick with what you know. So when I started developing a character, we shot out different ideas what I should do. And he was like, study Steve Kern, study Blacktop Bully, Dick Murdoch. And so when I started studying them, I noticed that the three of them actually are similar with the blue collar thing. And he's like, you are a blue collar guy. You work for a plumbing company. You drive a truck. He's like, stick to what you know. So that's when I started incorporating the blue collar, the trucker character, and then I kind of abandoned the blue collar side because truckers are blue collar. So I mainly focus on the trucker thing, and like there's a story behind the flannel. There's a story behind most of the aspects of my character, and so the idea he gave me was stick with what you know, and that's how I've built this character that you see. So I probably wouldn't have been doing this character if he didn't guide me in that direction.
With that, like, when you finally got to your first trade, it's like what we ask what was that first bump like? How did that feel when you got your first bump?
So when I started training with Frank, I kind of had started training a little bit with someone else, and it didn't work out. But when that first bump, I didn't know you were supposed to exhale. And so that first bump, it knocked the wind out of me, and I was
Yep.
hurting for like a week. And
Mm.
it doesn't feel good like the first time, especially when you're not used to purposely falling on your back. So like it didn't feel good at all. Like I can't like it's hard to explain, but like you don't realize how much it hurts until that first bump happens.
You've done it. You've kind of transitioned from fan to in ring later in life. What were the kind of biggest challenges you found going from being on this side of the barrier to your side?
What do you mean, like from going from not wrestling to wrestling?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not much. It's just like trying to understand the psychology of
Mhm.
the in-ring stuff. That's more of the problem I've had. But like I said, once you train and once you start doing it enough, the repetition, it builds you up and it's not as hard anymore. So like even when I go to
Yeah.
work and then the weekends I do the wrestling, it's not much different. My body's just used to it at this point, and I don't see it. There's not really much of an issue for me anymore. Like when I first started, man, was I tired, and because my full time job and
Yeah.
the sun, and then traveling to like Georgia for 4 hours to wrestle, and then turn around and drive 4 hours back with like basically no sleep. That was tough. Now I'm just getting more and more used to it, and after a while, your body just gets used to it because you're like I said, you get tired and whatnot. But I'm used to it at this point.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say that's got to be like a huge demand in your time, like a trucking job, which I'm guessing like the hours aren't always as straightforward as like maybe us. We work very set hours, so then trying to squeeze your training, that must have been a huge challenge, trying to get your training down regular and
Oh yeah,
trucking
'cause
during the day.
because I was doing my full time job. Then I was doing the training, hitting in the gym training, and so I was doing all three of these basically daily for
Mm-hmm.
it's like 14 months, so basically over a year. So like
Yeah.
I can't lie, my body was exhausted from it, but
Yeah.
it worked out. Luckily, it's worked out for me at least for the last 3 years, coming on 4 years. So I can't complain.
Plus, as well, having a kid is a full time job in itself as well. So massive respect to you
Oh, yeah.
for being able to everything in. Was there anything other things that you do particularly to try and stay sort of grounded, connected to home, and to keep yourself mentally well while you're on that grind?
So it's mainly my family that keeps me, mentally there because like they're a big support system, and I honestly don't know if I'd be able to do everything I've been doing without them because they keep me grounded.
Yeah.
When I'm too tired, they take care of me. And like I have no complaints in regards to how they treat me. So luckily, I have a great support system.
Yeah, and I've got to ask, you've mentioned having a kids. Have they been to the shows? And I'm always curious, how do they react when they see their dad getting thrown around the ring sometimes? Are they quite invested when
Well,
they're watching you?
so they get into it. My son, because he's young, he doesn't like when they get beat up, so he's trying to get in the ring to help me out. So my wife's chasing him around, trying to stop him from getting in. My daughters are booing everybody. Like they get into it, and like that was one of the big surprises for me because I didn't think they'd be into it as much as they are, but I get a kick out of all three of them because like the two of them, they cheer for me and then boo everybody else, and then my son tries to get in there to beat everybody up for beating me up. So it's great.
And I'm really curious, like when you've had a loss, are they quite upset? Like, do they take it quite badly when they have to see you lose?
No, I mean I always tell them, you can't win them all, and they understand that. That's how life is. You can't win everything, so they understand. They're not happy because usually when I lose, someone has to cheat to beat me. But they hate that more when they cheat to beat me.
Yeah. You were saying like earlier about the age you were when you joined. Like, how did you find? Because obviously you had to step into the ring probably with a lot of talent that was much younger than you. Were they quite supportive to you and accepting, like, obviously an older guy coming in much later in life?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really ran into many people who, are those, unsupportive. Like they understand, there's
Yeah.
some guys who are younger than me, but been doing it like six plus years. And so
Yeah.
the amount that I do and the amount that I know in the short time I've been doing it, like
Yeah.
they're impressed, but also, they support that I don't know as much as them. So we don't try to push
Yeah.
the boundaries of let's do this, we could do this. And I'm like, I don't know how to do any of this. So,
Yeah.
we back it out and, refigure things to where it makes sense. It makes it more believable for someone who doesn't have as much experience.
Yeah.
So, we're able to build around the fact that I'm not as experienced as everybody or than a lot of people that I face, but they also understand. So, it works.
Yeah.
It works.
And like from what you're saying, it sounds like it's an environment you also teach each other and learn, and everyone's happy to pass their knowledge around. There's no kind of this is just mine, don't leave it alone kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, so, hell, like, for example, I've given advice to certain people and because they go, hey, what did you think of my match? And I'm like, well, from what I saw, it was a great match. This part, I had issues that I saw, whatever. And then they take it and they listen. And then, but and then if you flip that, same thing to me, even though they're younger than me and they have more experience, I ask them, hey,
Yeah.
what'd you think? Was it good? Like, did you see something that I messed up on? And a lot of times they say, hey, watch your footage. So I'll watch the footage and say, oh, now I know what you're talking about. Now I know what he was talking about. And so I'm all about listening, learning, soaking that in and to improve because I'm always willing to improve and listen, which, in this business, that's what it's all about. So, I mean,
Yeah.
it's kind of a two-way street. They listen to me, I listen to them, and then we all get better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Kenny, you want to come back in?
After all the training and you get told this is your first match, what was it like? What was going through your mind right before you went through the curtain, debut?
It was more about being nervous. Like I still had some self-doubt because like I just graduated and they said, hey, we're having you do this match. I'm like, oh, well, okay. And it didn't go as well as I was hoping. But again, I just graduated. I was still learning the game and like, but I kept saying to myself, God, I hope I don't screw this up. And luckily I didn't. It wasn't that bad, but but it was mainly I was nervous because I never performed in front of an actual crowd other than going through school, doing certain like presentations in front of a group of people. But like this was a bigger thing. Like the room only had like 50 some people in it, but that's still big for a guy who never been a performer, someone who doesn't like performing in front of a group of people. But yet it went a lot better than I thought. But I was nervous as hell going through there.
And what was like after the match? Like how did you feel like once the match was over and you go back through backstage?
I was hyped because I finally was able to say, if this is it, at least I could say I had an actual wrestling match.
Yeah.
And I was proud of myself for actually doing it because, like I said, I've never been confident in front of a group of people, yet alone doing professional wrestling. And then, I thought I nailed it as best as I could. And I mean, I knew there was room for improvement. There always is. But I was ecstatic because the guy I faced, I trained with him. So we were comfortable with each other, at least enough to, do the best that we could. It was more about the best that I could, and I was excited about it because it was the best that I could do at the time that I believe I could.
Yeah.
But like I said, I was thinking to myself, worst case, if this is it, at least I could say I did it.
Yeah. Yeah.
What matches or feuds are you most proud of?
So there's a few. I mean, I did a match in Georgia where like they're pushing this guy as like this big giant monster heel guy, and he's like I think it was like 6'2" something, but like I felt like the story that we told was probably the best story I've told inside of a ring since I've been doing this, and like my storytelling has gotten incredibly better compared to when I first started, and so I was very proud of this match. So I show promoters this match because of how good it was, at least in the aspect of storytelling. And so I was very proud of this match.
It sounds like I'm guessing it's more a thing like in the indie wrestling that you guys have more input into your stories. Like when we obviously watch the WWE, they're very much in control, but it seems like you have quite a lot of control over your storylines.
It depends on where you go. So like in Georgia, I'm very popular in Georgia because of the whole truck driver, the blue collar aspect character. But the promoter there, he's gives me full control over the direction I want to go with the character. And he's like, hey, what do you think about this? Do you think we could do this with it? And I'm like, well, I don't think that would work, but what if we do this? He's like, yeah, that's fine. We can do it that way. And so depending on where you go, depends on how much control you have over your character. There's some promotions that say, this is what we're doing. If you don't like it, you can go. But when, like I said, with Georgia, I'm very over there with the fans. So they kind of give me control over my character at this place. So I'm happy with the way my character is being built there. I mean, because like I said, people understand the character there. The promoter understands it.
Yeah.
The guys in the back, the women in the back, they understand the character. And so we're trying to build things there and help the promotion grow.
Yeah.
And he kind of, they don't, like I said, they don't really care as long as you're not doing stupid things. Like I said, I'm just a truck driver. So it's not hard for me to have control of the character because, so.
Yeah, because I mean, it is the one thing, like when I was looking for guests for this podcast, obviously going through forums online, that's where I found you. And it just jumped out at me. It's just, you look at that, your promo images, and it's just instant. And I think that's quite a good gift to have, that people can just look at one photo of you, and I think they just understand your character from the off. It's so striking.
Yep, exactly. And that's what it's about. It's like, people look at my character, or some promoters look at the character and they think it's like a redneck, and it's not. So I'm like, because I get it. I'm like, with the flannel, people think flannel and redneck go together, which, it is what it is. But I'm like, if you watch my matches, you could tell it's a truck driver thing, and people understand it. I mean, heck, the name's Big Rig for a reason.
Graham, you were going to come in there.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, was that the Georgia promotion, is that Old School Championship? Is that the name of it, Georgia Old School Championship? The promotion in Georgia that you do a lot of work with, is that, I think, am I right in saying Scott Armstrong's recently pitched up as commissioner there? Or reasonably recently?
Yes, he
one
is.
of the Armstrong boys. Have you managed to get much
Scott
learning
Armstrong,
from
yes,
him?
Sir.
Yeah, he strikes me as someone that you can just...
The match, he's awesome, because the match that I was telling you guys about, he said good things about what I did. He's like, you made him look like $1 million, and the way you booked, the way that you guys told the story, you look like $1 million. Even though you got the win, you did it in a way where it still makes him look like a monster, and the heel, whatnot. And he's like, there's really nothing he saw that I did that was, in a bad light. But anytime I have a match there, I'm like, hey, did you see? Because he's usually at ringside as doing commentary. So after the show, I'm like, hey, what did you think of my match? Can you give me some pointers? And he's, he's in depth. He understands. Like, he's like, I get the character. Instead of doing this, try this next time. I think it'll work better. And so, like I said, I absorb all this information from people who've been doing this a long time. And I took that and I incorporated it into the next match. And he goes, that's exactly what I was telling you to do. So he knows his stuff, obviously. And so anytime he gives me feedback, whether it be, criticism or positive, I take that and I soak it in and incorporate that in my next match so he can see it. And he goes, okay, he is listening.
Yeah. That's amazing.
And and on the flip side of that, I was going to say, have you run into any promoters or that have, like you've said, they've just thought you're the redneck character and you've really had to say, no, that's not who I am?
Yes.
Have you run into that problem?
Yes. So there's another promotion I work, and the way they're using me, I'm like, I guarantee that they think I'm a redneck character. And so I went to the promoter or to the match agent, and he's like, well, you wear flannel, so I was like, did the name Big Rig not give it away that I'm not a redneck? Like, I don't understand. I was like, I don't understand how that's confusing. And so we had to sit down and talk about the direction of the character, because he's like, you're just a redneck. I'm like, my whole character is not supposed to be the smartest guy, but it says Big Rig as a truck driver. So I was like, I don't know how you got confused when it's not like, oh, I'm just going with Brian Colton. My name says Big Rig. So I was like, I didn't know a redneck ever uses the word Big Rig as a thing, but so it's happened to me more times than people would think. And you would think with the name Big Rig, it kind of says something, but apparently it doesn't. It's like, oh, redneck, cool. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I'll just roll with it, I guess.
Yeah. And I'm just curious, like, you said, obviously you're a truck driver yourself, but with the character, like the obvious, like trucker movies, convoy and stuff, have you taken bits from there to incorporate into your character as well to add to it?
A little bit. The movie I kind of incorporated was Roddy Piper, and it was They Live.
Oh, right.
Yeah, amazing movie.
Classic. Yeah. Yeah, love it.
Yeah. So his character is kind of like, because I don't really joke around like for my character, and so if you watch that movie, I took elements from his character in that movie and incorporated it into mine, because he's more of a serious, no nonsense style character.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of like how I am. Like, I'll have fun in the ring once in a while if you'll catch it.
Yeah.
But my whole character is basically the serious, no nonsense, I'm not here to play games kind of character.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
right now, my whole character is going through a character shift. So I'm becoming more of a serious style character than a. I'm not doing a lot of fun things much more as I'm moving forward.
Yeah.
But I took elements from that character and literally incorporated it into mine.
All right. And I'm also there's one kind, it goes back to like your first matches, and like when you started this, is there a move that you've learned to do that you're really proud of? Like basically when you saw, I could never do that, but now that you can pull it off, you're like, wow, I can't believe I actually can do that move.
So
we lost.
I do the one move I do is literally
Sorry. Oh, there you are.
Like the truck and elbow.
Yeah.
Which, if you watch my stuff, you'll literally see me do it. I do the drive that truck and I dive into the elbow drop.
Yeah.
Looks like I always saw guys do it and it looked easy, but actually trying to hit them where I'm supposed to hit them was the hardest part. And so I'm very proud of that move, because I practiced the heck out of it just so I can land it perfectly every time. And I never win with it. It is what it is, but the fans get into it. So when I do hit it, they get into it. And, and then, my finisher, I finally got it down in, I call it the gear shift, which most of my matches, if you see me win, it's like a form of a lariat clothesline, but I kept hitting people too low or too high, and that's a whole different can of worms. But I finally got it down, and like those are the two big moves I'm proud of the most. And I practiced the heck out of each one of those just so I can get it perfect every time. And I'm very proud of those two moves.
Kenny, can we bring you in there? You've been quiet for a while.
I just enjoying hearing. I'm just wondering, is there anyone you've wrestled that you really enjoy being in the ring with?
Yes. There's one guy, I faced him twice, and we just click. Like we understand how the two of us work, and like we don't have to talk about nothing. And every time they go, "Hey, you're facing him," I'm like, "Heck yes!" And we have like one of the best matches on the card, depending on the show we're on. And if they go up to me and go, "Hey, you're facing him again," I'm like, "Awesome." I have no complaints, and it always works out perfectly every time. Like I've faced him in twice, but once in two different promotions. Because every time he's there, they find out that I faced him already. They go, "Hey, you're facing him again." Cool. I have no problem facing this guy at all.
So I'm guessing, like with him being in the ring, you're almost like you just get each other, like without even saying anything. It just flows, is it? It's like it's basically like, I don't know, best way. It's like you are just dancing almost in time with each other, is it? Yeah.
Yep. Chemistry. Like me and him have really good chemistry in the ring, and it's crazy. And like there's another one I was teamed up with Jules Bradley.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Me and him were a team for a little bit, and we just had good chemistry together. Like we faced each other, we were partners, and every time we faced each other, like people still talk about the one match me and him had in a street fight, and they asked me, "Was that your favorite match?" One of them, yes. And if they go, "Hey, you're facing him again," I go, "Awesome." Me and him have really good chemistry. We click very well, and like I can't even complain about facing him ever.
Yeah. That's really cool because just to give everyone a say, we are actually speaking to him at the end of the month. So you're the start of the month, he's on the last day of the month. So that's fallen very well for us. That we look forward to speaking to him. Graham, I think you were going to come in there.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, pre-match rituals. Do you have any interesting ones, or what does it look like before you go out?
What do you mean exactly?
So, just in terms of, you mentioned before your first match, obviously it was a lot of nerves before your music hit, whatever. What's it like now when you're waiting to go out? Are you stretching? Are you just intrigued to know what happens?
Oh yeah, I got you. So I do a lot of stretching, but most of the time I'm working on getting into my character. Like I get a little bit of nerves still. I don't know how everybody is, but as soon as my music hits, the nerves go away. And like I'm not as I don't get nervous at all anymore. As soon as I go out that curtain, my nerves are gone. And compared to like I said, when I first had my match, the nerves were crazy. Now it's more I'm nervous. Once the music hits, the nerves go away, and then as soon as I go to the curtain, they're completely gone. And like, but I spent a lot of time getting into character, getting to my head, stretching, whatnot. But the nerves, I don't even know that I have the nerves anymore. Like it's just one of those second nature things where I know they're going to go away, so it doesn't even faze me anymore.
On the subject of music, you have one of the best original theme songs that I have seen, particularly for someone who's working indies. Sorry, I had to get it in there. As well, just having a look, your merch is really well put together. Everything looks like it's a really nicely done package. So again, with having a full-time job, having a family, having everything that you do, how do you manage to get all that done as well?
How do I do it?
Yeah.
I was always raised the way, so if I want something, I have to work for it. And so my parents instilled in me when I was young, nothing's free. If you want something, you got to go for it. You got to work hard for it. And so, like with my job, I'm a crew leader. So So I got promoted to that. And then, like I said, with the wrestling, I train in the gym. I work in a ring still. I try to, I work my ass off to, be the best version of me I can be in the ring. And so, I got, the gym, working in the ring. I do my full-time job, and just knowing that I can tell my kids that, follow your dreams. It's never going to be easy to follow the dreams, but you got to work for it.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
that's how I raised them, the same way I was raised. And so everything I do, I put 110% into, because I want it to be a success.
I'm also curious, like, that feeling you must have, like, when you've done a show, it's like you're going out to a group of strangers, but you've got them entertained and cheering. Like, how good is that feeling?
Honestly, the first time a kid asked to have a photo taken with me, it was like one of the most surreal moments I've ever had, because I never even thought I was ever going to be a wrestler, yet alone actually doing it. And then, all these people saying, "Hey, can I get a photo? Hey, do you have my size in your shirts or your hats, whatever?" And just, they want my autograph. They want a picture. It's like, it's one of those surreal moments that I never thought would ever be a thing. Like, people want my autograph. People want a picture with me. I'm like, my face isn't a moneymaker. I can promise you that. And so the fact that people want a picture with me or want my autograph, I never thought it would ever happen, ever. And yet it has. And so if I were to retire today, I can at least say that I did it. And so, what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, it's one of those things where I never thought in a million years it would happen.
Yeah, because I guess that's one of the great things with indie, especially indie wrestling, is you have that direct connection with your fans that, like, with the WWE you don't have. So that must make it extra special, that as well.
Oh yeah. And like, I'm friends with a wrestler who's retired, but he was back in the 80s, the 90s and whatnot. And he watches my stuff and he goes, "Man, you were one of the most popular guys that I've ever known who's worked on the indies." He's like, "I've never seen," because like, I went from like the lowest, like the bottom of the totem pole. And I'm not saying like I'm one of the greats now, but like how I was able to get my character over naturally instead of forcing it. And he's like, "You got it over so naturally, because people understand. If people understand it, it gets over." And so even he knows that my character is who I am. I'm not trying to force something. So the fact that fans understand it, the fact that they go, "This is our guy," and so I never thought I would get over naturally, period, get over at all. And yet my character speaks to the people. So I can't complain at all.
Because that'll be the other advantage. You've got a blue collar character, and indie wrestling just that has that blue collar crowd. So like, you're coming in with such a huge advantage when you walk out. So I'm guessing, and also in Georgia, they're just going to connect with that so heavily. Yeah.
Oh, they do. I think there's a lot of truckers that go to the show and they know, hey, our guy's going to be there, so we're going to make sure we're there. And so, because they message me and say, "Hey, you're going to be there?" "Yeah, well, we're going to be there to see you." I'm like, "Cool." So the fact that if truckers are understanding my character, that means I'm doing what the idea of the character is. And so, like I said, I'm not having to force anything. Anyone who's a blue collar or a truck driver or anything to do with that line of work, they understand it. I don't have to force it. And so it means I'm doing my job correctly. It means the character is doing its job, and I'm happy with it.
It's almost that full circle thing back to Dusty. Dusty was the everyman blue collar guy.
Exactly. And that's kind of where the character is also fed off of. I kind of took inspirations from him, because my father was a truck driver. So, he always said that he's the son of a plumber. Well, I'm the son of a truck driver. Even though I am one, I'm still a son of one. And so it kind of, it's that whole big circle. He understood blue collar, but so do I. And so it kind of took inspirations from Dusty Rhodes, and I embraced it into my character, and it kind of works.
Like, one of the things that I saw, certainly you're advertised for next month, Champions for Inclusion. Tell us a little bit about that.
So I don't know what the game plan is for that. The promoter messaged me. He's been watching the character. He's been watching it develop, and he wanted me on his show, and I was like, that's fine. I just don't know what the game plan is yet. I'm hoping I know soon, but it's one of those things. I'm just chilling, waiting to find out. But I'm excited. Like I said, I've never wrestled in that town before, so it's going to be a whole new environment. It's going to be a whole new crowd, and I'm hoping that the character works over there, which it should. But you never know. Every crowd's different.
Certainly, from where I'm sitting, it looks like a really positive thing. It looks like another area that you can use your platform as that character for supporting and inspiring other people, which it sounds as if, reading between the lines, it sounds as if that's something that's quite important to you, teach people the value of hard work, teaching people you can reach your dreams, you just have to go for it.
Yep, exactly.
Kenny, how you?
You were saying that you have truckers coming to the show So I was just wondering what your colleagues thought, when you first told them, I'm training to be a wrestler, and like what was their reactions? They're supportive, they're going to the shows. I'm just wondering what it was like when you first told them.
So the irony of that question is no one knew. So I trained for a year plus, but no one knew. I talked about it, but they never knew I actually was doing it until I made when I had my first match and I showed them the footage, and they're like, we didn't even know you were training. I'm like, well, I trained for a year plus, and I lost weight to get into shape to do it. They just thought I was losing the weight for health reasons, which I mean it was, but they had no idea until I showed them the first match, and they go, how long were you training? Like a year, 14 months? But we didn't know. It's like, well, you do now. And now that they know I wrestle, they work with me because certain things like the weekends I got to work sometimes. But if I have a show booked, they'll make sure that I'm off so I can wrestle the shows. But no one knew I was training until I had my first match.
Yeah, it's so good to hear that because like Graham and Kenny will know sometimes how workplaces try and infringe on that kind of on your hobbies and passions. So it's really good to hear you get the support for doing stuff outside of your work. That's it's such a positive to have that as well in your life. It's like the stars kind of aligned for you to pursue this.
Oh yeah, and like I said, I work with some good guys. So I mean, they understand because the position I'm in for my job, I don't really get time off. I'm usually working 24/7 usually, and so they kind of help me out. Like I said, if I have a show booked and I know about it, I tell them a week in advance, hey, I got a show, on this date, which is a Saturday, like, we got you. And so I'll wrestle, do my thing, and then be available the next day and say, hey, I'm back. If you need me, I'm here. And so they kind of work with me on the fact that I do wrestle.
Graham, are you coming in there? Or I heard you.
No, must have just heard me thinking.
Heard you thinking.
Aye. In terms of you mentioned obviously body transformation, weight loss, that sort of thing, Brian. What was the biggest factor for you? Was it getting in the gym? Was it changing how you eat? What's been the biggest single factor for that?
It was kind of all of it, because I was a gym. I like the gym anyways, but I had to change how I approached it, and then the dieting. I had to change my diet to, fit the new workout program that I was doing. So it was they're kind of put together in the same way. So you know what I mean? And so they said with the work and then the gym and then the dieting and then the training, it was all of them. I had to change how I approach things to make, a better success for me with the weight loss and then getting into better health, better shape. Like honestly, like the shape I'm in now is probably the best shape I've ever been ever. And so, like,
Yeah.
I took this, I rolled with it. You know, I was always told if you want to be taken serious, you got to look like you're serious. And so I took that. I lost the weight. You know, Francisco Chiazzo, he was like, whatever you're doing, it's working. Keep doing it. And so I stuck with it. And like people noticed it. And like I know it helped make me better in the ring. Like I was faster, more agile. Which, like I said, I've never been the best this shape I've ever been. And like I'm not like I could keep going. I'm still going, but compared to where I was like 4 years ago, I'm in the best shape I've ever been. And so I'm proud of what I've done. Like I said, working out and the dieting, turning, switching those in to make them, work together. That was the hardest part I had to figure out. And I figured it out, but that was the hardest thing for me.
So like, where I've been, Iron Marks, I think like this might be the question. So what's the future hold for the Big Rig and where are you going next with everything?
I'm just like, I slowed down a little bit for the last few months because I'm focusing on, the family, because I haven't had much time with them, helping out, fulfilling some obligations that I've had with some personal friendships I've had or that I have. But I'm not giving, I'm still wrestling. I have a show coming up on the 14th. And then in April, I'm basically booked all through the month of April right now. But like I said, I'm not, I slowed down a little bit more for like, health. I was getting exhausted from, like I said, with my full-time job and whatnot. So I slowed down a little bit to recoup, heal up, get rest. And now I'm getting back into it. And I'm going to be hopefully getting a lot more bookings coming up in the next few months.
So, so you're just almost just taking a day at a time and just being thankful for the journey. Is that your kind of outlook at the moment for the future?
Yeah, just more like getting more rest in because going basically 7 days a week, nonstop, every, 24/7 every month, going, 7 days a week. It was adding up. So I slowed down to get some rest in, just focus on my job, my family, and my friends, whatnot. And now, but I'm getting back into it this month, and I got a lot of stuff going on in April. So,
all right,
nice.
So, like, say we're coming up on time, guys. If you've got a final question, Graham, Kenny,
I'm good. I've asked loads. Thank you very, very much for your time, Brian.
So, like, to finish off, Brian, we always just end up with a quick fire round of just some not very serious questions. So, are you up for that? It's just 10 very quick questions.
I'm always down. Let's go.
Okay, all right.
I might have an 11th. It might be ridiculous. We'll see what you got.
Okay, so number one, if your entrance theme had to be replaced with a children's TV theme, what would it be?
Sure. Let's be fun here. SpongeBob. That's the most relatable song you can think of.
Okay. What's the most impractical weapon you'd bring to a non-DQ match?
I've done it. Big pipe wrench.
If you had to tag team with a non-wrestling fictional character, who would your partner be? So anyone from fiction.
My son's a big fan of Spider-Man.
Oh, okay, cool. And what would the tag team name be then?
Something, what is it? The Truckin' Webs. Truckin' Web.
Okay. What's the worst snack to eat before a match?
Well, I can't eat because it makes my stomach hurt, but I would assume a big meal. I don't know. Like, probably something, I would say something greasy.
Okay. So if your gear had to be designed by a completely unqualified celebrity, who would design it? And what would they create for you?
Who would design my gear? That's a good question. Shoot.
Like the worst person to design a big rig costume. Who could that be?
Let's go. Gordon Ramsay. Yeah, there you go.
Gordon Ramsay.
That's another one. Gordon Ramsay and Guy Fieri. There you go. They probably put me in an apron.
So, what's the pettiest reason you'd start a wrestling feud?
The pettiest?
Yeah,
Someone stole my parking spot.
that is worth.
I
That's
drive a truck.
worthwhile.
Those are big. I need the spot.
So, if you had to cut a promo about a household object, which object would it be, and why would it annoy you so much?
A household item?
Yeah, if you had to cut a promo about it, and why would it
My
be
wife's
getting the
kitchen
beat off you?
counter. Because I run into it all the time because it sticks out.
Okay. If you had to rename your finisher after your least favorite household chore, what would you call it?
Let's see. The pressure washer then?
Oh.
Yeah. Pressure washer, because I got pressure washer in the house. I hate that.
Yeah. And what's the most non-wrestler thing you're just insanely good at?
Plumbing.
All right. Yeah, that works. And question we asked all our guests, if you got invited to come over to Scotland, would you come?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Oh, well, don't think you need to worry that the three of us at least would be in the crowd there to cheer you on. I think you've got three good fans here.
That's what I need. That's all I need.
All right. Oh, well, you never know what can happen. Graham, you had a silly question to go there.
Yeah, I just had a thought. You mentioned that Francisco had sent you to study Blacktop Bully as one of one of the people way back right at the start. Would you ever do a King of the Road match?
Oh, yeah. It was unique. I mean, I told him, I said, if there was a stipulation created for me to do for my character, it would be that type of match.
Yep.
So insanely stupid, but it would work.
Yeah. I think you would make it work.
I'd make it work, but man, it was a bad match.
And with that, Brian, if people want to reach out and find you, where can they find you? And if they just want to speak to you?
So I have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Threads. Basically, Brian Colton or Big Rig Brian Colton, depending on what you're using. Facebook, Brian Colton. Instagram and TikTok are Big Rig Brian Colton. I respond to messages on there to anybody, any fans.
Yep.
But then I also post match information and upcoming events on all of those social media sites. So I'd say if you want to know where I'm going to be next, go to Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, and you'll be staying, up to date on where I'm going to be.
All right. Oh, that's great. I think we're all followers, and we've all become fans. So as we've spoken to you, I think you've gained 3 fans in Scotland anyway.
Yeah.
So the Big Rig tour of Scotland might happen one day. We look forward to it.
Hey, I'm down for it.
Thank you. Oh yeah. Hopefully, you never know. Like I said, anything can happen. Just to let everyone know, we've got some stuff coming up on the show. I think next up we've got Ruby the Bitch Slayer, Scottish wrestler. Then after that, the very well-known Mickey Knuckles is going to be our special guest. And at the end of the month, of course, Jules Bradley, who seems to be a good friend of yours, and we'll look forward to speaking to all of them. Thank you, Brian, so much for taking the time. I know you're working at the moment. It's been a pleasure and an honor to have you, and we'll be following you, and hopefully we can reconnect in the future at some time to see how things have progressed.
Oh yeah, I'm down. Just let me know.
All right. And with that, everyone, we will see you all very soon. Take care and good night or good afternoon, wherever you are.
It was good meeting you guys.
Yeah.
And you.
Yep. Thank you very much.
See you guys soon.